Hi there, it's me again, Max from Next Decade, and I wanted to share something with you today about health. When I work with clients, I often say that we're sitting on a little stool which is three legged, like a milking stool, and the three things on it are your health, your career, and your private life. And if one of those is wobbly, everything is wobbly. So, you know, the work that I do with older people who are moving out of a career and looking at, say, their next decade or decades, I do an inventory where we say, what happened in the last 10, 20, 30 years. This is not therapy, it's really just collecting a helicopter view of the past and saying then, what are the things, where are there heat spots? Where are the things that served my purpose really well? When did I thrive? When was I unhappy? What was toxic? What do I want to leave behind? What do I want to take with me? It normally takes about, 5 or 6 sessions till we get to that. And then we do the brainstorming phase where we look at what are the things I'd like to do next. And of course, the third phase is implementing that. So I had to run this on myself to, test it. And I had a lot of surprises. So um, you might have seen in some of my previous posts that I went back and did a further degree that I finished at 61 just a few months ago. And I felt that advancing my education at this time in my life was amazing because it's a completely different approach to learning. You're doing something because you want to learn about it. You're not doing it to build up a career or something like that. But that's not what I want to talk about today. The health part. So I realized when I looked at the past few decades that I have let my health run ragged. It has been a disaster. So, how do I cope with that? What stopped me? Often, time pressure, bringing up three kids on my own, traveling for work, all of that, exercise and diet. And one other thing, drinking water. I never drank enough water. I did have phases of being good with exercise. I ran my first half marathon when I was 50. I loved running. I was the back of the pack runner, slow runner, but I loved it. And when you're traveling a lot for business, it's great. You just have to take your runners with you. You do things on your terms, You can have a slow run, you can work on distance, you can work on pace, whatever you want. But I got a heel spur from not stretching properly, probably, and didn't go back to running after that and didn't really fill it with anything. I did start hiking a lot, but hiking can be very seasonal and not as often as I would have gone running, which was a few times a week. Um, Food. I love healthy food. When I was about 15, my worst subject at school was biology. And I remember we once got this project and I did mine on nutrition, and it was the first time ever that I got something like a B. And I was so into it. I was so interested in nutrition, and I still am. I was vegetarian for 10 years, but again, feeding a family every day under time pressure just didn't leave room to plan healthy food, and especially when there's a group of people eating, everyone with different needs. So I got lazy and I cooked very much not fast food, but very convenient food, pasta, sauce, piece of meat, never looking at nutrition and calories or whatever it is that makes a difference. Um, I really, say going away on business meals, business work, business trips. Um, I was the person having the three-course meal. I saw colleagues who had the salad. I am a food reward person. Working long hours, being away from home, it was always like this is the nice part. Um, I was never a big alcohol drinker, but I got into a habit of alcohol, say having a glass of wine in the evening, watching TV, maybe two, never more than half a bottle, but that's a lot, there's a lot of sugar in there. So when I did the Next Decade program on myself, I realized that very important for me was to change my diet. And I did a few key things. I cut out alcohol. Now, it's not that I don't drink at all anymore. If I'm out socially, I might. I love, having Aperol Spritz in the summer, but I wouldn't drink more than maybe once in 2 or 3 weeks on average. Um, I started planning my food. I've started to eat more fiber. Well, what happened was I was forced to eat more fiber. About 10 years ago, I had a gut issue. I was hospitalized for it. I've had some flare ups since then. 6 months ago, I had a flare up, and when I was in the clinic, they told me, you've had this a few times, let's cut out the part of your gut that's causing problems and sew it back up again, and everything will be fine. So I thought about that and I said, definitely not. I made a deal with my surgeon that I would change my diet and I would drop weight, and that if after 1 year with this really healthy diet that I've no more problems with my gut, that we definitely don't need surgery because, anti-inflammatory food like honey, turmeric, coconut, getting rid of all the fatty food, eating much more fiber. So I really started that, and in the past 6 months have lost about 7 or 8 kilos. Um, I did go back to the gym, and I did at home start doing weights, which I absolutely love. Um, I follow Shelley Fowler on YouTube. She is amazing. She does workouts for women over 50, but these are workouts for everyone. Um, you can do a 5 minute warm up, you can do 20, 30 minutes with the weights, whatever works for you. I very, very keen walker. I try to get my 7 kilometers a day in. I think that's 10,000 steps. Walk to the shops, walk to meet people, walk to the station. It mounts up. In the evening, I don't have my steps. I'll walk around the block. I'll do a short walk over to the lake. Love it. And that is something that you can do all your life, uh, consistently. You won't get an injury from it. It's good for everything. It's good for your heart rate. It's good for your muscles, everything. So there I was thinking, I have reinvented myself, made all these changes. I'm invincible. And last week, um, coming home in the evening, I felt a little bit sick. Yes, the gut flared up again. I ended up back in the clinic. I had to look at the surgeon and say, I didn't do the 1 year. And that has been a great learning curve for me, is that we're not infallible. We don't have everything in our own hands. You can get sick no matter what you're doing for your health. That doesn't mean to do nothing. I probably will have to get the surgery now, but I feel if I'm going in for surgery fitter and slimmed down, I will get over it quicker. Um, I think it's good to try and do health things first, but yeah, what I learned was that I can't I can't pretend that I'm 20 anymore. I can bloody well be great for 60, 61, and not be the image that people used to have of people of this age. But it is about accepting a little bit of both. And that's where I think my lesson has been this week. Now, why am I telling you this? Why am I doing a podcast on this? Well, first of all, you know, um, I love writing. I think I'm much better at writing than doing something like this. But I am competing now with people using AI to write everything, and it's great. And I just want you to know that this is me, the real me, in person. And um, also because, I want to share what I'm doing, because I do coach people, and I will be setting up, I'm in the middle of setting up, I have a website, I'm setting up content where I will make it available to everyone. Not everyone can afford coaching or needs or wants coaching. Um, But I think it's good to have an exchange, and I know I'm supposed to say, please subscribe, and this is the bit where little subscribe buttons are meant to light up, but haven't got that far yet. But so I'm never going to earn money from people subscribing, but subscribing to me means someone's out there listening to me, and that inspires me to do the next one. So I'd love you to subscribe. And the other thing is, I'd love people to share what's going on for them, because I'm quite interested in seeing, how diverse life is working out for different people going into their third phase and looking after the next decade. So that's it for this evening. And as you know, all you need is you.